Man's stance with respect to morality, moralism, and immoralism. Man adopts a certain stance toward morality, toward every morality, and toward that which exists in our own society, not the technological morality yet. That is to say, he never completely carries out morality of his group, the morality of his group. There is always a certain distance between morality and individual behavior. It is commonplace to make a distinction between morality and morals, between the ought to be and that which is. This is so obvious that we shall not enlarge upon it. But we are obliged to conclude that this opposition between morality and morals is becoming less and less exact for three reasons. First, to the extent at which at the present time we do not conceive morality as absolute but as relative, thus exhibiting differences of content according to differences of time and place, no longer possessed either of religious or of natural permanence, to that extent morality no longer presents a completely rigid contrast to morals. It adapts more readily. Huh. What's up, God Exists gang? Just reading my. I didn't get to read it. I wanted to read a chapter in this book every day. I didn't get to read a chance to read yesterday. Just a bunch of stupid day. Secondly, to the extent to which morality is derived from the social group, it is obviously a product of morals. But in this area, two elements of opposition between morality and morals still persist. One of these is the time lag. Morality necessarily lags behind morals. What's this distinction he's making between morals and morality? Man adopts a certain stance toward morality, toward every morality, toward existence. He never completely carries out the morality of this group. Okay, so morality necessarily lags behind morals. Is he saying like the group morality lags behind how the person feels about it? It evolves less rapidly. In reality, is an expression of yesterday's morals. Yesterday's morals tend to become today's morality, and today's morals will instigate tomorrow's morality. The other remaining difference is a difference of rationale. Morals are spontaneous phenomena, while morality is always more or less structured and organized. Okay, I see what he's saying here. He's talking about the organization of society compared to like how man feels about that organization. It is a collective ideological construct. This construct can be more or less conscious and intentional, but it is always there. It is ambiguous with regard to morals, for it is always capable of two different objectives. Either it can have as its purpose to conceal reality, to camouflage behavior and morals, to refuse to look at things as they are, in which case it is an ideological disguise, or it can express a genuine desire for the true, the good, the just, etc. As a judge of morals, all morality involves these two factors. It is never entirely the one or the other. It is usually a desire to reform morals in the direction of the good, and at the same time a desire to camouflage. Okay, so there's a footnote here. Oh shit. What's going on? I should probably do this. That was the only footnote in the whole chapter. Crazy. Marx's analysis of ideology may be applicable here, showing that all moral or immoral positions are a result of a false conscience. Man's spiritual capacity makes it possible for him to add to his ignorance of the true situation an element of conscious deceit in the attempt to appear loyal to the values or to himself. All this lends itself to the biblical affirmation that ethics is the result of the break with God. Ethics is the result of the break with God. Interesting. Very interesting. A third factor in the rapprochement between morality and morals has to do with the progressive development of technological morality. Okay, when he's saying the difference between morality and morals, he's talking about basically the difference between the organization and society, how it's structured, the rules, etc., taboos, as opposed to like how people feel about that structure or organization. Technological morality. The latter tends to educate behavior in such a way that it exactly expresses the technological good. Thus, the contrast between what should be done and what is in fact done grows less and less. But just because it is a matter of what should be done in the technological order, elsewhere the development of certain techniques, sociological and psychological, tends to alter the relation between morality and morals. The outlook of social psychology and of depth psychology leads to the conclusion that duty, moral obligation, and the sense of sin are harmful to man. The idea of the moral is progressively being displaced by a concept of the normal. From the standpoint of socio-technological behavior, the good is expressed in that which is normal. To set up a conflict between the normal and the moral imperative is harmful both to the individual and to society. Consequently, a systematic effort is made to promote a morality of that behavior which corresponds to social utility, the sinless morality of Hesnard, and which expresses normalcy as determined by investigation, polls, etc., the Kinsey report, for example. At this point, practical conduct of the individual at the individual level is presented as morality. And then there is a confusion between what is and what ought to be. Interesting. So every time I read something, I copy paste it into ChatGPT, and I have it like summarize and dumb it down for me because I'm so dumb. I'm so dumb. I believe in God's revelation. Isn't that dumb? Why would you believe God? You should just believe science. Oh crap. In the end says, but in our society there still exists a morality with the appearance of being imperative. This morality confronts the individual. What then is man's conduct in the face of this morality? What attitude does he take? What does he make of this morality? For him, it is, in fact, a matter of resolving the conflict between his life and morality, like the social order, social rules. No man likes the conflict nor accepts it. Two courses, and only two, are open to him: moralism and immoralism. So, our ideas of morality have shifted over time, especially as society and technology evolve. Traditionally, there's a gap between morality, what we ought to do, and morals, what people actually do. But this gap is becoming smaller for several reasons. One is there's changing views on morality. So, morality used to be seen as absolute, tied to unchanging religious or natural standards. Now it's more flexible, adjusting to different times and cultures. This means morality adapts more easily to everyday actions. And he's saying everyday actions are morals. And morality is what? Like, what we ought to do. Okay, morality, what we ought to do, morals, what we actually do. The influence of society on morality. Morality often reflects past values, evolving slowly to match current behaviors. True, like with like now they're starting to legalize smoking of a certain substance, right? And in the past, in the past it was illegal to do that, but because people's behaviors have changed where people just do it so much, they're like slowly adjusting the rules of the society to reflect how people actually behave. And that they're just like, you know, smoking all day and then trying to debate, and they can't think straight, you know. Their cognitive abilities are impaired from all the smoke. The rise of technological morality. In modern society, technology and psychology are influencing behavior to fit a standard of normalcy rather than traditional moral values. Here, the good is less about moral obligation, more about aligning with socially accepted norms. This blurs the line between what's normal and what's moral. In modern society, technology and psychology are influencing behavior to fit a standard of normalcy rather than the traditional moral values. Okay. You're saying rather than like God influencing people's behavior, that like basically a combination of technology and like basically saying like propaganda is influencing people's behavior as opposed to like wanting to aspire to a relationship with Jesus or something. And so when propaganda is influencing our behavior as opposed to like a higher power that we strive towards, or a higher good, higher virtue, then good changes. It's not about moral obligation, and it's more about aligning with society, socially accepted norms. This blurs the line between what's normal and what's moral. So normal becomes moral. So we're in the, yeah. So our idea of morality is moving from rigid absolute rules to flexible, socially driven standards influenced by evolving behaviors and new concepts of normal shaped by technology and psychology. True. Welcome, Sean.
Hey, I'm sorry to join, but just want to say Jesus is king and I love you, bro. I love what you're doing. You have a good rest of your night.
Okay, thanks, man. I don't know if you guys saw, but I went on like Daniel's stream and I kind of like went off on him. Because like he's going around saying like, oh, Christians, they're not rational, they don't have evidence, blah blah blah. The guy's so full of crap. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He's like super ignorant, talking crap about Christians. So I went up there and just told him, look, you're ignorant. You're ignorant as hell, son.
Hi. So, I'm not religious,
You're
but I do
18?
live in a religious household. I
Are you an
actually believe in
adult?
Mother Earth.
Are you an adult?
So
Are you
I
18?
don't. I've actually never been put on the spot before. So
Are
can you
you
hear me?
18?
Okay.
Yeah, can you hear me? Are you 18? Hello? No, I don't believe evolution. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Are you an adult?
I'm 18.
Okay. You promise? You're not lying?
I swear, I'm 18. August 8th.
Okay, what would you like to say?
So I believe in Mother Earth, but I do have like Christian family members and like friends. And I don't. Oh God, I don't know how to put this. I don't see anything wrong with having a different religion or perspective on things. I think it's actually really good, whatever you believe in.
Well, don't you think it's good to believe what's true? So like if you're believing something that's not true, wouldn't that be like bad?
I think maybe I just have a belief on my own thing, and if somebody else believes it's wrong, that's their own thing, you know. It's just if you believe you're going to heaven, then you're going to heaven. Further down the road, if I want to become religious or anything, I do believe like that maybe God would like, you know, what I've learned about religion or like Christianity is it's really accepting. And I do have a pastor, and he told me that if you just repent or like, you know, accept, what is the word?
Forgiveness or tolerance or
Um,
community. Um, well, in Christianity, I mean, it's supposed to be about acceptance and love, forgiveness, humility.
mhm.
But like, I don't believe we're supposed to like persecute other people personally, but unfortunately, some Christians persecute others. Like, I feel like if you're not a Christian, then we shouldn't hold you to like Christian standards, right? If you're not a Christian,
Yeah.
you can do whatever
And I
you
think
want.
that's where a lot of Christians get it wrong, you know? Because the thing is, if you try to shove religion into somebody's face, right? And if you try to like push it onto someone, they're only going to push away, you know? You can't force somebody into something that they don't want, you know? And you can't say someone is like a sinner or put this terrible title, but like, oh, you're going to hell, right? Because no one wants that, you know? No one wants the worst. And the thing is, you got to tell them, like, hey,
Yeah.
like, you gotta tell them the truth things, you know, because what I've learned is God is this equal person or like this equal being, not person. Like the whole biblical verse and him washing the person's feet with his robe, you know, he saw himself as an equal.
Well, that's actually there's a meaning to that. So like in the idea in Christianity is that like power corrupts. So this is why you have like I think a lot of people don't like Christianity is because it can kind of go to people's heads and like power
No, yeah,
corrupts
for sure.
and it's easy for us to abuse our power as humans because we're like in a fallen state kind of as a result of Adam and Eve. So the idea in Christianity is like Jesus is the master, he's the one with the power, and he uses his power to serve others. And this is sort of how we solve these problems. There's always like problems of social injustice and inequality in the world that's like always existed.
Mm-hmm.
But Christianity offers a solution to that problem where the idea is that if you're aware that power corrupts you, and what you do is like Jesus used his power to serve others by washing their feet. So if you're a Christian and you find yourself in a position of power, the idea is you're supposed to, like Jesus, he used his power to help and serve others. He didn't use it in like a selfish way.
Mm-hmm.
So those with power, if they're Christian, they should use that power to serve others. And I think that's a really like good solution to some of the problems we still have in the world today.
I just don't. I don't think humans have a power in like in general. I think we're all here equally to like experience life as it is, and like we're all gonna go through struggles, and like we're all gonna have like a better life. There's people with better lives than others, and religion kind of just helps you be like, okay, this is my morals. I think religion and like beliefs are just morals, because like how do I explain this? God set out like morals that people follow, and I'm so sorry if I'm not even making any sense.
It's okay.
I've never actually like talked about my beliefs, but I solely believe that people are here just to experience life. No one's higher than others. If you think about it, I don't know, in different beliefs, I guess, we're all gonna go in the same place. Either it's hell or heaven, either it's back to the earth, like I believe. The thing is, we're all just here to experience life, and why would you put somebody down based on their belief? You know?
Well, I mean, what if they had a really horrible belief though? Like,
Oh, I didn't think about that one honestly. Like, obviously, there's an extent. Like, if you believe,
like P Diddy, right? Like, I would like to put P Diddy down based on I don't agree with his beliefs, and his beliefs are horrible, right? So screw P Diddy, right?
I actually have no idea about the P Diddy thing. I have like
Oh, it's
I'm
very bad, very
yeah.
very bad.
Like I think because I believe in Mother Earth. I wake up because I lived in a native household. You wake up for your son, you catch your blessings, you thank the Mother Earth for what she's giving you, you know, all that good stuff.
They were doing the P Diddy thing. They were worshiping. They had satanic. Well, this is what I've seen people reporting. I guess I don't know if it's true, but
Yeah.
someone was saying that they had satanic altars, and they were doing like hedonistic naked parties around the satanic altars, and
Oh.
he was like SAing people and graping people, like um, you know, he would put things in their drinks so they would be unconscious, and then
Mhm.
you know what I'm saying? Like that's I think we can say that those if those are his like religious beliefs, I have a problem with that. So
Okay.
I'm
You got me
voicing
there,
against
honestly.
that.
Yeah, I do have a problem with that too. Like, obviously there's a fine line between like having a healthy religion or belief and having a non-healthy. Honestly,
Exactly.
like,
But I mean, yeah, I mean, the way I look at it is like God is love. We're like his child. Because, like, you think about love, right? Like, a man and a woman love each other and they want to share that love. And so they create a
mhm,
child. And that's
yeah.
how I think of like God. God is love. He's three persons in one. He expresses love in himself. He wants to share his love. And so he starts creation, and we're made in his image. We're God's children. He wants a loving relationship with us, and we sort of like any typical child, right? We're in a rebellious phase. We're like in the teenage phase of
Mhm.
humanity. We have teenage angst, and we want to rebel against God like teenagers rebel against their parents. And so now, as a result, we're undergoing some sort of like discipline, and God is allowing us to experience unpleasant things. So we learn not to love the world, repent, and turn towards God so we can have a loving relationship with him for eternity. And like the whole point of our experience in our life here is to spread love, to love God and to love others. So that's
Yeah.
what I believe.
I think I'm honestly on the same page. I think God is the ultimate like judgment. I don't think we're here to judge anyone. I know people. I'm pretty sure it's like part of the Bible too. Like you're not supposed to judge it. It's just um
Well, I would say we're not supposed to condemn people. I would say, because judge has a different meanings. Like, obviously we're supposed to have like make opinions and judgments about things, but
I think some
we're
people
not
can
to
go a little
condemn.
far with it, though. Like,
We're not to condemn people, because you remember when they wanted to stone the woman, the adulterous woman, and Jesus said, "He who is without sin cast the first stone." And everyone realized that they were sinners, so they went home and they left. And Jesus walked up to the woman. He didn't have sin, but he said, I do not condemn you. Go and sin no more. So revenge or like justice is for God. And if someone's like committing sins, like that's between them and God. It's not like our job as Christians, unless obviously they're like a violent criminal or something. Then
yeah, that is different. Like if somebody decides to sell their body, I feel like that's personally on them, and
yeah, as long as people aren't being harmful to others, it's like it's between them and God. Like I wouldn't like condemn someone or put them in jail because they're like breaking the law of Moses or something.
So, yeah. Okay, so I don't know if I even got anywhere on this. Yeah, but yeah, but yeah, my religion is my belief. I mean, is not religious or anything, but I do understand religion and everything. So I don't know. I'm not very debating anything. I don't know.
I got some people requesting to come up. Do you mind?
Yeah, I could definitely leave.
All right. Well, thanks for coming.
Yeah, of course.
I wish you well, and I encourage you to keep researching. Maybe read the gospel. I don't know if you have, but check it out. See if you like it. Man, I really want to go to Mr. Rational Debater and see how rational he is. But you put rational in your name, that's a good way to get invited first. Welcome.
Yo, what's up, brother? How you doing?
I'm doing well. Go ahead.
Yes, so I just wanted to ask, man. Like I hear this a lot. For there to be a design for the universe to be designed, and for the atheists to believe that there's no designer, they have to be convinced that their brain is not designed, so they can't have an intention, I guess. So I just wanted to ask, do you have a little bit more knowledge, like?
You want me to like explain that?
Yeah, because I feel like the atheists, like when I question an atheist on that, they say that it's about perception of the thing that they perceive. So I'm still not sure how they think. So you could probably just expound on that a little bit more if you don't mind.
I think like to like really simplify it, there's two ways to look at the world, the universe. There's either intention and design, or there is not intention, that it's like we would say like it's accidental. So there's like the intentional world or the accidental world. And it only makes sense, our thinking only makes sense if we're like intended for this world. That like God designed our thinking. Okay, like, because otherwise it's like your thinking would be the result of an accident, right? And if your thinking is the result of an accident, then you see what I'm saying? What's a good way to put this? Okay, so like let's say
like a bunch of randomness, basically.
Yeah, let's say like you had, I don't know, you had like a bucket with a bunch of ping pong balls, and you had like 20 ping pong balls in your bucket, and you asked me to like how many ping pong balls are in the bucket, and I just guess and I say 20, and I happen to be right. Okay, that's not really like knowledge, because it's just like I had no reason to think that's true. It's just sort of like I was accidentally correct.
I got you.
So
I
that's
got
not
you, brother.
knowledge. You have to have like a reason to think what you're saying is true.
You have to have a
Mm.
reason to think of what you're saying is true. I got you.
Right. So I'd
Got
have to
you,
have
brother.
some like I don't know. I'd have to like counted the ping pong balls to when you ask me the question to be able to answer with knowledge and
Right.
answer correctly. If I answer correctly, and it's so even if like even if they get the correct answer with their brain, if it's the result of an accident,
Uh-huh.
they're not really like it's not really reason. I guess
I got
even
you,
if it's
brother.
I don't know. This argument gets it's kind of trippy because you're thinking about fundamental
Yeah.
things,
Right,
but
right. Man, hey, man, thank you so much, brother.
yeah,
I can kind of understand it now, just a little bit more. The fact that you just told me that, so I do appreciate. You just
yeah.
said you said that they can't read. Wait, hold on.
If the
Uh huh.
if you're if there's like an if there's no reason behind like why you think something's true, if it's like your thought is the result of an accident, even if it's true, that's
Yeah.
not being rational. Because when I accidentally guess you got the 20 ping pong balls, even though it's true, I'm right. I'm not really being rational because I'm just guessing and I just happen to be right. It's an accident that I'm right. And
Got
so
you, my
like that's
brother.
going to be the same thing like with their thinking. If their mind, their reason is the product of an accident, there's no reason to think it's true. But
Right, right,
if their mind or their thinking is the result of intention and design, then that is like, oh, my reasoning works because it's designed to work, as opposed
right.
to, well, my reasoning is the result of an accident, and it just works. There's no reason to think it works there. But when we debate, we have to give reasons as to what for our positions.
Right, right. So for the agnostic, do you think that that's a defeater in itself, or do you think that being agnostic is a justified?
Um, well, we would say you really can't be agnostic about the Christian God. Are you a Christian, by the way?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so yes, the Bible says that the Christian God in Romans 1, he reveals himself to everyone. So
Right.
like no one has an excuse. He's obvious.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you could be agnostic about like I don't know a fruit fly being in the room because a fruit fly is like really small and it could be hiding somewhere in the room. But you couldn't be
Right.
agnostic about an elephant in the room because the elephant
Right.
is so big and obvious. That's like, and that's what the Christian God is like the elephant in the room. He's obvious, apparent to everyone.
Right.
And
Right.
I think that's part of our job is to make them realize that if this is like an obvious in your face truth, like it's like sphere earth versus flat earth. You're like talking to flat earther. They can't see the obvious evidence.
Yeah.
So you can't really be neutral about something when it's super obvious. And when because we say God's like necessary for it to make sense of like any experience we even have, like, cause he's the ultimate creator. Everything depends upon God. Nothing is possible without God. So we have to make them realize that it's just like this obvious fact, this elephant in the room, I think, and that they're in denial basically that they just don't want it to be true based for whatever, like, you know.
Right. And for them to deny the elephant would kind of make them an atheist because it, do you think or would they still
Yeah,
remain? Mm-hmm.
because the agnosticism would be like the idea that you're neutral, but if
Right.
you couldn't be neutral about an elephant being in the room, like
Right. Right.
they could be like neutral about like a deist god, or there's certain god concepts you could probably be neutral about. But the Christian God, because he's the elephant in the room, he's obvious. You can't be neutral
Right.
about that. The Bible says he exists and that you suppress the truth and unrighteousness.
Gotcha, my brother. Hey, man, thank you so much, bro.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stick to. I gotta write a couple of those things that you said down, man.
Yeah.
But God bless you, brother.
Yeah, it takes time. I've had to do a lot of reading and studying, and every day it's like thinking about
Yeah.
these things. But
So, what
yeah.
do you recommend? Like, What
Um,
besides the Bible, besides
if you want to do like apologetics, like debates and stuff.
yeah, I'm sorry. Can you say that again?
Um, well, I could recommend like a book if you want to like debate atheists, like apologetics.
Mm-hmm.
I would go to there's a guy named Greg Bonson.
Greg Bonson.
Yeah, it's like BAHN, what is it? SON, I think. Greg Bonson.
BAHNSO.
Let me
Got you.
double check the spelling. He's written a bunch of. He's a real smart guy. And,
Yeah.
oh, it's SEN. My bad.
Oh, so it's BAHSEN.
N BAHNSEN.
SEN.
Yeah.
I got you, my brother.
BAHNSEN. Yeah, check that guy's books out. That should get you a good start.
Got you, brother. Thank you. Yeah. So I'm just basically trying to bring people to Christ, man. But I do appreciate
Yeah.
what you're doing, man. For proving.
Yeah, I don't know if arguments are the best way to bring people to Christ. Like,
Yeah. No, but
I think loving people is probably the best way, but
right.
I also think there's value in like being like, look, we as Christians, we're not like believing in fantasy land here. Okay, we have a rational defense for our position.
That's it, brother.
So this stream is almost more for believers, and we're kind of here to like they have only these TikTok lives where they mock Christians. Well, I'm just doing a little mocking back, in good fun. It's all love, but
Yeah, man, and man, there's like the atheists. They're so irrational. Like you go to Thinker's live, bro. She's just like she has no like she feel like there's no objective morality, but she questions the Bible so much to where you like do you even know that the Bible gives you like God, he gives you the morals to have, like but it's
rational debaters asking to come up. Maybe we should move, give someone else a chance.
Thanks, man.
But thanks. Yeah, I agree with you about. All right, do you mind if I move on? Is that cool, man?
Yeah, it's all good, my brother. God bless you, man.
Yeah,
Thank
God
you.
bless.
I enjoyed this talk. Yes, sir. Bye-bye.
I've been on Thinker's stream a lot, and like I tried to bring up Frederick Douglass to her. Like she wants to, like she always is talking about the forced labor stuff in the Bible. It really wasn't forced labor; it was voluntary. And even like the people that did, like, look, I condemn the Christians in like the Civil War South that did that, where they were cruel to African Americans. I condemn that. I don't think that's Christian. I think they were being hypocrites. And I tried to bring up like Frederick, like a lot of those people, victims of that, they ended up becoming Christians anyways, despite that. But Thinker didn't want to hear that. I tried to bring up Frederick Douglass.
Yeah, I got. Thank you for letting me up. I appreciate you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
But I was losing brain cells there, so please don't do that ever again.
Trying to be nice. We try to be nice to people.
Well, it's tough. It's tough. I don't think that religion has been so nice to people.
What are you talking about? It's like built hospitals. We feed homeless, give shelter to people. It's been super nice.
Are you done? Can you be serious now? Or
humanitarian organizations like the Red Cross.
Humanitarian organizations.
Yeah. Okay. It's awesome. What are you talking about?
That's wow. Done so great. Yeah, Christianity has had an amazing positive impact. Did you know that it's because of Christian influence that slavery disappeared in the Roman Empire? I doubt it. You doubt it? Oh, so you're just a low information Sir,
person?
after that,
Another low information TikTok.
Excuse me. Thank you. It was because of Christian influence that slavery still exists.
We have no idea what you're talking about. No, freedom is a Christian value. It's complete opposite.
That's untrue. There's acceptable slavery in the Bible.
Do you think you can rationally deny God?
Yes.
What would be the rationale to deny God?
The same rationale to deny Santa or unicorns.
So that's not a rationale. So do you have a rationale or not?
Yeah, the rationale would be based off my intuition and desires, based off of facts,
What
books,
fact is there that
information,
there's no God?
deductive reasoning. I mean, there's a plethora of things I could base the rationale off of. What
I
do
don't
you
think
base?
so.
What's your rationale?
Well, part of my argument is that you can't rationally deny God. I think that's been demonstrated just now. All right.
Well, if that's the case, then you're wrong.
Okay, then what's the rationale for that there is no
Well,
God?
how do you define rationale?
A good reason to think something's true, like
I just gave you 4 good reasons. Just because you don't
okay.
think they're good reasons doesn't mean they're not good reasons.
Be more specific. So it'd be like a rational proof, empirical proof, or a transcendental proof.
That's a false dichotomy there.
It's a trichotomy.
Because there's more than 3 options.
Yeah. What else? What other
You could
proofs?
use intuition, desires. You could use deductive reasoning.
Proof. That's not proof, though.
I mean, if someone, that's plenty. Like if like somebody that you beloved came and said that someone did something to them, you're gonna believe them. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
And by the way, and isn't the Bible based off of faith, the things not seen? Like it's very not obvious.
Do you think that the disciples of Christ had faith?
I wasn't there, brother. Were you?
Do you think the disciples of Christ had faith?
I wasn't there. Were you?
No. Do you think?
I don't know. Yeah, the only reason I conceive that is if I believe the Bible.
Why don't you want to answer my question?
Sir, I've answered it twice in 2 different ways. How come you don't want to understand my answer? Like, what are you talking about?
Did the disciples?
Yeah. Oh, you're not listening. Okay, let me answer it again, maybe in a way that you'll understand. So, I wasn't there. I don't know what they believed, and if I did, it would be based off of words from a book, that you can't possibly prove.
How did you know that faith? How did you know that faith is believing something without evidence? How did you know that?
Well, I know a thing or two.
Do you think you're rational? Because like I this is pure emotions, sir. This is you're being ridiculous.
Okay, and this is an ad hom. Well, good for you. Well, you're so good at debating. Wow, really
I'm just calling them as I see them.
Yeah, do a little bit better, because honestly, this is weak sauce.
Okay, so did the disciples of Christ have faith in Christ?
What difference does it make whether I believe
they did or didn't? This isn't a difficult question. This isn't even.
Well, sir, okay, I'm going to answer it again. I wasn't there. I never met them. And if I said they did, it would be based off of words from a book. Is that, are you not tracking the answer? Or
people watching this guy's name is Mr. Rational. Watch this. Did the disciples of Christ have faith in him?
If you believe the words from a book, then yes.
Oh, why did you have to qualify that?
Because that would be how you answer that question.
It's just so evasive. Yeah. Every answer is so evasive. It's really interesting how you say you're rational, but you can't answer a simple question. So okay,
sir, actually, nothing about that question was simple. See how ignorant you are of that question? Like, if you think that's a simple question, then you're a simple man.
Okay, well, I caught you in a contradiction.
Look, I get it. Maybe you are a simple man. Maybe you believe things that you have faith in, a feeling in. I get it. That's on you, bud. That's okay.
Okay, Mr. Rational, I've caught you in a contradiction, though, because you said faith was believing something without evidence, but then you just conceded that the disciples of Christ had faith in Christ. Wouldn't they have also had evidence because they witnessed like miracles and the resurrection, and they, touched his holes?
Again, I'll answer the question again. Now listen this time. If you believe the words from the book, that would be the only evidence that you have, then I would say yes. But that would be qualified off of you believing a book. Correct?
Why are you so afraid to answer the question? Like, why are you the one dodging? You're projecting onto me what you can't possibly answer. Like,
So
that's on you,
yeah,
buddy.
if it's true that this conversation between us just happened, then you contradicted yourself, right?
How so?
Well, because you said faith was believing in something without evidence. Then you said that the disciples of Christ had faith in
Well,
Christ,
sir, I have a
yet
hang on.
they also
I
had
have a TikTok.
evidence in
You can
Christ.
go back
So,
to your TikTok live, and there would be evidence. So that would directly refute that point. Because I
so
don't need faith to know that we're debating, sir. It's
Mr. Rational,
tracking live on TikTok. Like we could all go back and look at it.
Mr. Rational,
Write me out.
Mr. Rational, you contradicted yourself.
How so?
You said that faith was believing in something without evidence.
Again,
You said the disciples of Christ had faith.
I never made a claim about what faith was. Duh.
Yeah, you did.
Like no,
You contradicted yourself, Mr. Rational.
Hang on, I was steel manning your argument, genius.
Mr. Rational, you contradicted yourself.
Really. I've just been asking about your premises and your points.
Yeah, and you contradicted yourself.
Okay, you can keep saying that, but that's not going to make it true. Just like you can have faith that there's a God, that's not going to make it true.
Would you like, since you're not really interested in being rational, Mr. Rational, would you like an emotional argument for why Christianity is true?
You've already been too emotional for the night, so please don't. Yeah, because your arguments are not only logically consistent, but your emotions are getting the best of you.
All right. Well, thanks for coming, man. I really appreciate you. I wish you well.
Are you running? You gonna run?
I'm running. Oofta. Welcome, guest.
Hello.
Welcome. Do you accept God as your creator?
No, I've not seen compelling evidence for Jesus Christ existing.
No,
Or sorry, for being God. Let me be more clear.
Didn't you see that my last guest, how irrational he was when he was trying to deny God? Wasn't that compelling?
From what I heard, it sounded like he contradicted himself. I can't lie.
Yeah. Well, I take the position that like God's necessary for evidence at all. So I make like a transcendental argument.
Well, then that's the end of it. Like, what do we even do from here?
Well, I could just show like how God's necessary for facts. Like, to do a scientific experiment, for example, there has to be like regularity or order in the world so you get repeatable results.
So it's just God of the gaps.
It's not God of the gaps, because God of the gaps would be like, we observe this phenomenon in the natural world and there's no natural explanation, so therefore God did it, right? I'm saying that like to even explain anything at all as a necessary precondition for explanations at all, God is like a foundational necessity. So he's necessary for explanations. It's not God of the gaps at all.
Because
it's like the opposite of God of the gaps.
Wait, why is he? Why though? Why is that necessary?
Because if the world had certain attributes, we could not know things. Like let's say we lived in a world where every object that existed the properties kept randomly changing all the time. Because you couldn't know anything in that world, because anytime you made a claim, like the cat is on the mat, well then the properties change immediately after you make the claim, right?
Yeah, you're saying because the world has order and like logic that we can perceive, therefore some being with order and logic had to have made it.
Well, we have to live in a world that like that is ordered from above to make sense of things.
Am I misunderstanding God of the gaps? Is that not literally just God of the gaps?
Yeah, it's not God of the gaps, because it's about like it's an indirect argument. It's saying that God of the gaps is saying we can't explain this phenomena, therefore God explains the phenomena, right? I'm saying what is necessary to explain any phenomena. Because if we lived in the random world, right, you couldn't explain phenomena, right? So that world would make explanations impossible. So I'm saying, what are the properties that we would need to make explanations possible? And that's the world that's described in the Bible. So therefore, the Bible represents a model or worldview that can account or explain what we experience in reality. Our human reason and observation, without the aid of God's revelation, cannot explain anything. Like science wouldn't be possible without God. Philosophy, conversation.
Because it lacks order and consistency?
There's a whole bunch of reasons, but...
Well, yeah, but I think if I pushed you further on that and I asked you, like you're just saying that there's order and consistency in the universe, therefore there has to be a God.
I'm trying to like dumb down there's like a lot of reasons or lots of things that need to be true to make sense of our experience, and God explains all of it. And I'm just focusing on one aspect, that we have to have order to explain things. But there's also a lot of other things God explains that are necessary. So it's not just this one thing.
You have to have order to explain things.
There has to be a uniformity in nature. That's what it's called. Regularity and irregularities in the world.
Yeah, but to me, this is just you saying, oh, there seems to be order in the universe, therefore God had to have done it.
Order is necessary to explain anything. If you deny the order, you'd be reduced to absurdity where you couldn't explain anything. You couldn't make sense of anything. We have to be able to know things, and we have to be able to learn from the world, right? So any claim that would make it impossible to know things or to make learning from our experience impossible, that claim would be like false. And we're saying that any non-Christian position would make knowledge impossible and learning from experience impossible. Therefore, any non-Christian position is false.
Well, what I'm asking you is, why does order equal God created it?
Well, how else would you explain the order?
If you pick like a phenomenon, I could try to run it down for you. It would depend on like what we're talking about.
You would need ultimate reality. You need ultimate reality. That's the thing in the model that dictates what is, what can, what cannot be, what's possible, what's impossible. So like the atheist wants to say that, well, I don't know what ultimate reality is. And the reason is because you can only know ultimate reality. You can't know it with like our logic or our sense data or observation. We can't know it through we just can't know what ultimate reality is. We only can know it as if it's like a God that reveals itself to us.
Well, we don't know if we can know it through those other avenues.
No, we do know. It's impossible to know through human reason. And
how could you even make that claim?
How can I make that claim?
Yeah, what do you mean?
Because we only have access to like how we perceive the world to be. We don't have access to how the world actually is. And you'd have to have access to like how the world actually is to like know ultimate reality.
Well, we've made like scientific strides into getting closer to that point.
Science doesn't even attempt to deal with that question. Science studies the world as we perceive it. Science doesn't tell us how the world actually is. So to know how the world actually is, which is going to be necessary for like truth and knowledge and learning, we need to know ultimate reality. And we can only know ultimate reality as if it takes the initiative to reveal itself to us. So
there's just so many premises there that I would have to subscribe to. Like the first one would be that I have to.
Undeniable.
I'd have to prescribe
You
the
can't
idea
be
that
skeptical of
there-
it. If you be skeptical of it, then you couldn't know anything.
if well, first of all, I have to agree that there would be such a thing as what did you say, an ultimate reality?
You don't have to agree, because that's just the question that started metaphysics. That's just a basic question in philosophy. What is ultimate reality?
Right.
Everyone has to answer that question.
Sure.
Yeah, you can't just, I don't agree to that question. You can't, no.
Yeah, but you're saying that, like, why would I believe, like, why would I grant to you that God created ultimate reality?
You don't have to grant me anything. You have to answer. You have to tell me what is ultimate reality to make sense of the world. And as a Christian, I can tell you what ultimate reality is. It's Jesus. It's the Christian God, right? What are you going to say ultimate reality is? If you're honest, you would say, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, but that results in absurdity. That would mean that we couldn't know anything and we couldn't learn from our experience. So that's a fail. That's why I'm saying you have to. That's why Christianity is necessary to know ultimate reality, and ultimate reality is necessary to know anything. It's foundational. It's just no escape. You can't get out of it. You're at a crossroads where you have to be either, you can be a realist and be a Christian, or you can live your life in a fantasy, solipsistic, nihilist, hard determinist nightmare.
When you say I'd have to know, like, in order for me to know something or believe something, are you going to say that knowing something is perceiving something in this ultimate reality?
Knowledge is when, like, a sentence that we think is true corresponds to the actual state of affairs, the actual world.
In the ultimate reality?
Kind of. The ultimate reality just determines what's actual. We never can get to the actual world through our reason and our perceptions of the world. We only have our perceptual, like a perception of the world. We don't know what the world actually is, unless you're a Christian, because then it's revealed to you that God created the world. Ultimate reality tells you, look, this world's real. I made it. So now we know the world's real. You, without revelation, wouldn't know if the world was like a mental substance or a physical substance.
Right. So if I were to concede that I don't know if there is, or if I can perceive an ultimate reality,
then you don't know what reality is. Then you don't know if the external world is real or fake.
Right. So I can grant you all of those things.
Then it's done. So now you're at a crossroads where you have to be a radical skeptic and you can't know anything, or you have to be a Christian. There's no other option. What would you choose? Would you rather be made in the image of a great ape, or would you rather be made in the image of a god?
Damn, dude. Yeah, I just, like, I see what you're saying, but it's just that, like, you're not connecting the dots fully.
I've mashed I've mashed it in the I can't talk. I mashed it into the potatoes. I'm spoon feeding it to you.
No, like, okay. I agree that I might not be able to perceive reality. Whatever that means, like objective reality, assuming that there's like a reality to the universe, that I might not be perceiving it.
Then you can't know anything. You're screwed. You're in fantasy land now. You want to say, like, the Christian believes in Harry Potter? Well, your whole life is Harry Potter. You're just a Harry Potter character because you don't know if anything's real or not. That's crazy. You have to be a Christian to make sense of, be rational.
Well, I've lived 22 years so far.
Yeah, in your Harry Potter story, yeah.
Yeah, dude, my own Harry Potter story.
let's leave the Harry Potter world and let's enter the real world where like the Christian God exists.
Okay. So as an atheist, how should I find Jesus Christ?
As an atheist, how should you what?
How should I find Jesus Christ? Like, where's he at?
Well, you just like read the gospel. Have you ever read the gospel?
No.
You've never read the gospel?
No, I was too busy reading Harry Potter, bro.
Damn. Yeah, you gotta read that gospel.
But like, where? Like, why hasn't bro tried to like hit me up yet? You know what I'm saying?
He has. You're just you're rebelling.
I'm just not seeing the ultimate reality.
He's an elephant in the room. Yeah, it's obvious. It's as obvious as the Earth is a sphere.
Can I give you a hot take?
Sure.
I think that I could beat Jesus Christ in an arm wrestle.
Dude, you're just trolling.
Kind of. I'll chill. Okay. So all humans have this question of whether or not there's, like you said, metaphysics, like ultimate reality. Is there such a thing? Why couldn't I claim that ultimate reality? We are seeing ultimate reality.
Because it's not. Why can't you just lie? I don't know. Do you think lies work or lies good?
A completely toothless critique that I could apply right back at you. So let's skip that. Okay.
Why can't I just lie in the debate? Can I just say?
I could just say the same thing to you. Why are you just lying right now?
I'm God. Look, I'm God. See, so believe in me. I mean,
no. Why can't I say that my perception and observation of the world is the ultimate reality that we're living in right now? Like, this is just how the world works. Everything I see, everything I touch.
Okay, imagine like knowledge is like a car, right? And we're gonna try. We want to start our car.
What kind of car is knowledge?
It's a Ford Taurus.
Okay.
And a necessary precondition to start our car is like a battery, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so like, if we don't have God, it's like trying to start your car with an empty battery. Your car is not going to start. You're just going to sit there turning your key. It doesn't start because we're trying to start our God, or we're trying to have knowledge without, or just with like human reason and sense data, and just alone without the aid of God. The car won't start. What we need is a jump start. We need to get our friend to come over and what the hell is that called again? Those cables, jumper cables. We need to connect the jumper cables to another battery, and we need to. So like the other battery is like God.
Okay.
Right? So God gives us the jump start. Now we can start our car. Now we can use our human reason. We can use our epistemol or our observation. So our battery now works because we're getting the jump start from God, and we can start our knowledge car. Okay, so like if you deny God, it's like you're not getting a jump start. You're just sitting there with an empty battery. And
in the same way that you're going to proclaim that God is the jump start, I'm just going to explain that
the worst analogy.
My brain is the jump start. My sense data is the jump start. Like, what is giving?
Yeah, that's the empty battery, because the observation and reason without the aid of God doesn't get us to knowledge. It doesn't get the car started. We have a jump. We need God to jumpstart our ability to get evidence in the world. Because he explains like everything that has to be. There's all these things, like if cause and effect wasn't true, you couldn't get evidence of anything, right? Cause and effect is necessary for evidence. But what's the evidence that cause and effect is true? There's no empirical proof that cause and effect is true. There's no rational proof that cause and effect is true. So, like, guess what? God's revelation would provide a justification for how we can believe in cause and effect, which would be a necessary precondition to jumpstart the knowledge car. We need to believe in cause and effect. How do we believe in that? Our human reason and our observation can't prove cause and effect. We need the God battery to jumpstart our car. God can reveal to us that cause and effect is true because God makes things true. God's the ultimate source of the true. God is the good. God is the true. He tells us the true.
When
We need to know, have knowledge.
I haven't read the gospel or the Bible, as I already admitted. Like, what chapter does God explain cause and effect?
He talks about how he like orders the world. He I don't know, because God's like, he's everywhere. He's omniscient. He's present everywhere. He's universal. He exists everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
He's sort of like the glue that holds reality together. He holds the cause and the effect together. If you deny God, like everything in your system's loose and disjointed. There's no connections between anything. And cause and effect requires like a connection between the cause and the effect. They need to connect.
Okay.
God's like the glue that like connects all these things together that are necessarily need to connect to make sense of anything.
Does like somebody have to have faith in God for this glue to exist, or does it like? We already said he's omnipotent, so he's just every okay.
No, you don't have to believe in God, right? Because God's true. Like, gravity is true whether we believe in it or not, right? And it's the same for God. God is true whether you believe in it or not. And because God is true, we can do science. We can have this argument. We can do philosophy. If God was not true, science would be impossible. We couldn't even have this conversation. That's how fundamental he is and necessary to make sense of our experiences.
Do you know what I think is going on here?
What?
I think you're an atheist and you're like prepping for some like college paper or debate or something. That's what it sounds like. It sounds like you're like taking a stance on something you don't agree with just to see how well you can argue it.
No, I got interested in apologetics and I started studying this argument. It comes from a guy named Cornelius Van Til. Mm-hmm. And he just kind of like takes, what's the beauty of this argument is it uses, it's an anti-skeptical argument. So I can take arguments from atheist philosophers like David Hume. He hated God, he was an atheist. Mm-hmm. But I can use his arguments to actually prove God. Because I can show that, because he was an empiricist. He thought that knowledge came from our perceptions of the world. But then he says, well, but I never perceive cause, the force or principle that connects the cause and the effect. There's just this one event, the cause, another event, the effect. And I never empirically observe the force or principle that connects those things. And without that observation, I'm not justified in believing in cause and effect based on empiricism, based on observational knowledge. So observational knowledge ends up like, this it doesn't work. It doesn't make sense. You become like a skeptic.
Yeah. I mean, you hit on it earlier when you said that I had two choices, to be an ultimate skeptic or Christian. And I just don't, I don't know I don't understand how you're trying to move me from ultimate skeptic to God. Like, what is the argument there? Like, why should I?
You want to be a skeptic? That means you don't know anything. You can't even like argue against people. If you want to debate and argue, you have to be a Christian so you can be justified in like God, the Christian God is necessary to even make an argument.
Not according to an ultimate skeptic.
Well, you'd just be living your whole life would be a lie. You'd just be living a contradiction because your beliefs wouldn't map up to how you live or what you experience. So if you want to live a lie, I mean, I don't care. You can do it. It's your life, dude. You're a free person.
Yeah, like
You're right as an American.
I agree. If you're not a Christian, when it comes to like philosophy, you're going to have to be ultimately skeptic, probably. But
that's irrational, though.
But on like a daily living basis, right? Like I can function off like intuition and axioms in my sense data perfectly fine.
Because you live in God's world, yes. So I don't understand. Like, why don't you just want to be like consistent in what you believe? You want to accept this broken model where there's no God when there's no
think I'm not consistent, and where's my inconsistency in what I believe?
Because you live your life like the world is real, for example, or like your words have meaning. But if there was no God, you would have no reason, like your words wouldn't have meaning. So like if you believe in a God, that just means you'll have less cognitive dissonance, right? Because your beliefs will actually be consistent with your actions, and like, how you live your life.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if you want to be rational, you should be a Christian. Like, I don't care. You're welcome to do what you want. But I don't see how like atheism is so like nonsensical and untenable. It's just like not a rational position. Or agnosticism too. Like, I think only Christianity is rational. At least if you believe in a God, though, you're like, I guess you're on the right track. But
okay.
Atheism is pure fantasy. But anyways, I don't know. Maybe I should move on. I think we're kind of like...
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for coming, man. I wish you well.
Yeah, no problem. Good luck, man.
Holy crap! There's tons of people asking to come up. I kind of prefer women because I'm a feminist.
Hi.
Welcome.
I'm agnostic. I'm not philosophically inclined, though, so I'm not sure if I could have as in-depth a conversation as your last guest.
Right. Well, he wasn't either.
Yeah, I'm agnostic, so yeah.
Well, I don't know. I mean, yeah, my argument might go over your head. I try to think of ways to dumb it down for people.
Yeah. I don't think accepting the limits, our limitation of information is wrong. Saying that you don't know based on the limited information that you have, I think it is more honest than accepting a random explanation. And I think since there's multiple religions, accepting one out of the multiple religions that exist is more irrational than just accepting that you don't know.
Yeah, but it's not. See, like, it's not like just some accepting. Like in Christianity, it's like we have this God who's revealed himself and interacted with humans throughout history. So we have like millennia of history of God interacting with people.
But you can't say the same for any long-lasting religion that exists.
But like,
they do have historical evidence for almost every other religion. It's not specific to Christianity. So you choosing one out of the multiple religions is just simply biased towards your own religion. Is what I would take than accepting. We don't have enough information to make a clear conclusion on whether God and a higher being exists or not. Then we just simply don't know. That's what science is. If science don't have an explanation for something, then they just accept that they don't know. They don't try and use a random explanation to explain their own philosophy. They just accept the limits of their information, that they have limited information and they don't know. And I think that's a very honest way to come to a conclusion on something.
Well, yeah, but I also think it's honest to like accept the evidence. It's not honest to ignore the evidence. And like when we look at Christianity, we see like a God revealing himself throughout history, and he reveals like he has these like perfect qualities, and
Everybody could say that about their own religion, though.
well, hold on. You said I have a bias, right? And I agree. Like I'll admit, I'm being totally upfront and honest about my bias, and I'm saying, look, I'm a Christian. I have a Christian bias. I'm putting it on the table, but I'm saying that everyone has bias, right? And the way to prove, we have to figure out who has the correct bias, and we can, right? We can examine. Like I can say, like, okay, let's look at your bias, right? And then I can demonstrate that your bias cannot make sense of like what we experience. And I go, well, let's look at the Christian bias. Look, the Christian bias can make sense of the world. It makes sense of how we experience things, right? So that's why, like, you should be a Christian because the bias is more like consistent to what we experience than your current biases.
So why is the Christian bias better than all other religious bias? Or have you explored other religions enough to see that your Christianity holds more true than others? Have you read other religious scriptures, other long-lasting religious scriptures, and come to the conclusion, or you just naturally inclined you to whatever, how you were socialized to your religion, and then you just accepted that belief system throughout your life? If you actually went and explored every other religion and then came to the conclusion, I would understand a little bit more than you just having your religious bias from birth and then just finding information to
well, that's what I did. That's what I was raised Catholic. I rejected Christianity. I thought it was a scam. I tried to live my life without Jesus, and I explored all these other beliefs, every belief. And when I was 37 years old, I decided to examine my biases, and I realized I had a bias against Christianity. And so I decided to give it another chance. And, I started learning, studying the Bible, and now I can objectively prove that it is true. So I think it, yeah.
When I asked you if you explored other religions, did you sit down and read and explore it as in depth as you did your own? Did you understand the fundamentals to the other religious belief systems out there?
Sure.
And the historical evidences support each and every religious belief system? Did you do that?
Not like,
and then you came to the conclusion?
Yeah, I studied a bunch of religions, and then I came to the conclusion that Christianity is true.
Okay, I feel you. So it wasn't just surface level understanding of each religion, it was an in-depth, thorough research into the other religions.
Yeah. Did you ever study Christianity?
I grew up in a Christian household. So yeah.
Do you
But
disagree?
I always came to the conclusion myself, probably at around the ages of 13, 14, that, I mean, who knows if a higher being exists or not, and even if a higher being exists, who knows which one out of all these multiple of religions that exist out here accurately describes the higher being that exists. And so I came to the conclusion that we just don't have enough information to make a conclusion, make a conclusive statement. And so I became agnostic. I didn't have the correct terminology, but around 16, I came across the word agnostic because I didn't want to identify with atheist. And I
don't blame you for that.
So I just was an agnostic for the rest of my life until 21.
Do you disagree with like the message of Jesus where he says to like love everyone, be forgiving?
I have philosophical aspects, some things that align with my morality in every religious belief. Like Buddhism does have a lot of aspects in which I agree with. So just because I agree with a particular message of a specific religion doesn't mean I will accept the religion as a whole, because I could see there's aspects of every religion that I accept and that I morally agree with.
Well, I think Christianity is kind of unique in that we're saved by the grace of God, which is an unmerited reward, and that we don't. It's not that we like follow these rules or something to get to heaven. Because I think in systems where it's like you have to follow these commandments, and then you're the good person, that can lead to arrogance and pride, and then that goes to people that the people become self-righteous. They think they're better than others, and then it leads to like persecution and oppression and cruelty. And
I think out of all the religions, Buddhism has the least of these traits in which you would explain it. Christianity and Islam do have those traits in which people do feel self-righteous and lead to persecution. So I would not use that as a guide as to whether Christianity has any more substance than other religions, because they have that aspect of them.
Well, that's what's unique about Christianity is we're saved by grace. So like, the Bible's very explicit, and like the Pharisees were self-righteous, and Jesus like was very harsh and criticized them more than in like any group of people. So
okay.
That's one thing I like about Christianity is there's this like really good message of like human life has value. You're made in God's image. You're not just like an evolved animal. Like, and you deserve dignity, respect, freedom.
So because you resonate with the message is why you believe in the religion itself?
Well, I think there's objective proof, but also like I think it's like good. There's like a message of like fighting social injustice, helping the poor people, the oppressed, the persecuted. Because Christians start out poor or persecuted. The government was, feeding them to lions and trying to wipe them out. And so there's a profound message, I think, that can be found there that people can resonate with if you're like an outcast,
Yeah, but as I said before, there's not it does have good messages in a lot of other religious belief systems, so I wouldn't use this as any way to ground my stance on any religion.
Well, when you get older, you might change your mind, because I thought when I was younger too, I thought like I didn't need Jesus, but then as I got older, I come to realize I was a fool. And like, yeah, you can't. Life is so much easier. Life can be really hard, but it's so much easier now that I'm a Christian.
I feel you. Well, I'm not sure. I will have to research in every religion. Like saying another religion resonates with me more.
Yeah, I think you should. You should use your God-given reason, use your mind, and think, and
Yeah, but I think I satisfied with me not having or me acknowledging that there's not enough knowledge or information that we have to come to a conclusion to make a statement on whether God exists or not. But if I would want to follow a religious belief simply because, I like the message, that would be different than fully believing in the actual physical being, but that would be not being truly faithful. Because I would actually believe in all aspects of the religion, just like, I like this message. It would more be like a self-help book rather than a faithful religious belief. So that's why I would not go down that road with religion.
Well, I wasn't trying to suggest that. I agree with you. I think it's real. Like, I think it's objectively provable. But, so I would just encourage you to, keep questioning things, keep researching, try to like understand that you have a bias and examine your bias. And
yeah, but I think everybody has a bias, but I do think it's the least more relatively objective thing just to accept that you don't know. Than
but that's another bias. But,
I guess so. That's how I would see it, like just accepting that you don't know. Because, it'll be easier to believe in something than to accept that you don't have information necessary to come to a conclusion.
Well, hopefully,
especially if you grew up in a Christian household, it's much, much easier.
Well, I hope you can find that information that you're looking for someday or something. You're still young, so you might change your mind.
But yeah, bye-bye.
Okay,
nice
thank you. Yeah, I wish you well. Man, there's lots of people requesting. Holy crap. Welcome.
Hey, how you doing?
Doing well. How are you?
Living, man.
So do you accept God as your creator?
So, I do not. I would like to start out with two statements. Number one, I am an agnostic.
Okay.
Number two, I believe that every religion that ever has or will be is equally provable in the sense that none of them can actually be objectively proven.
Okay. Well, I would disagree with that. I think Christianity is objectively provable.
Okay, what leads you to that conclusion?
I make a transcendental argument for God. Are you familiar with that argument?
Loosely, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's... So I think the debate between theism and atheism, it's over like... it's at a foundational level, like at our biases. Like we have different biases over what we think is possible and impossible. And so I think that's what needs to be confronted. And that's what determines possibilities is ultimate reality. And that's going to be like a first principle belief. And to type of way we prove a first principle is with a transcendental argument, because we can't use like an empirical or rational proof to prove a first principle.
Sure. I see where you're coming from.
Yeah.
I would counter, though, that we don't have to rely on any outside factor for knowledge to be provable. So, for example, if we take something really, really basic, like... I'm trying to even think of something here. But if we take a really basic fact, why is the existence of God necessary to prove that that fact is true?
It's because that human reason and our observations, like sense data, alone, without the aid of God, are not enough to get us to like reality as it is. We would be stuck in our perceptions of the world. And so there's no reason to think that our perception of the world actually aligns with how the world actually is. So we could never actually get to have knowledge. The sentences we speak have to connect to how the world actually is.
Okay, so that would get us to a deity is necessary.
No.
Yes, it would get us to a deity is necessary for objective fact to be true. It doesn't get us to the Christian deity.
No, it gets us to the Christian deity because the argument is about paradigms, worldviews, and we get our worldview from the Bible. So it's the argument comes directly from the pages of the Bible. That's where we get our principles. And so, yeah, it directly proves Christianity. Actually, that's I've heard people make that mistake a lot, where they think I'm arguing for some random God, some deist God or something. No, it's an argument for specifically the Christian God. I think he's like Googling it right now. Yeah, so a worldview is your like ontology, epistemology, and ethics. Those are called your principles, your starting point, your first principles. And so from the Bible, we get our ontological claims, ethical claims, and epistemic claims that, he just left. And this is the power of the transcendental argument for God on full display. He just left. I mean, that was like the wisest. That's the best move he can make in that situation, though. Honestly, like you're totally screwed as an atheist or agnostic. You want me to add you, B? I like your name. Are you an adult? Well, are you an atheist? Because we're kind of looking. I'm looking for like non-believers. 19. Host, you understand Van Til is a joke, right? Like, how is Van Til a joke? Like, do you mean like he's not taken seriously in academia? Sure, I understand that. But who cares? Academia is like not the arbiter of what's true. Academia is a bunch of nonsense in academia. So who cares what academia, if they take Van Til seriously or not? In fact, because academia doesn't take Van Til seriously, guess what? You guys have no good response to his argument because they've just ignored it rather than deal with it. So now I can just sit here and collect the W's all day in debates because you don't take, you guys think Van Til's a joke. You have to believe I'm right to believe I'm right. Low information person. Typical.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing well.
Good to hear. I'm just wondering what your views are on your separation with God and with yourself.
I'm not sure what you mean. What do you mean separate?
Do you believe that you are separate to God, to a higher power, to a deity?
Oh, yeah, of course. Like, we believe in a creator-creature distinction. So the creator's separate.
Have you heard of the analogy as above, so below, as within, so without?
Yeah, that's a cult. Yeah.
Beautiful. So you understand that everything that God has ever created lives within us, encrypted into our physical DNA and biology, and also into our human consciousness, which explores the mind and our emotions and our ability to interact and create our own world. It's how we are able to, create progress in our world, and it reflects that we can create what God creates.
Well, I would just say we're made in the image of God.
That is exactly right. We are his mirror, as we are mirrors for everyone else in our lives. We are able to lead each other back to God through good and through evil, light and dark. This is where the yin yang and Buddhism and Hinduism comes into play as well. It's all part of the one truth.
New Agey. This sounds very New Age. Like, do you believe in like healing crystals and frequencies and?
Absolutely. I mean, we, as the core of our being, we come down to frequency and vibration. That is what our physical reality is made up of.
Did you just want to come up here and preach about the New Age?
How so?
Well, I mean, this is like.
What is the New Age?
I don't know a good definition for it.
Well, then why would you say I'm preaching for something that you are unsure about? I'm simply saying, I'm stating that we as physical beings are made up of vibration. Our feelings are vibrations, and
I can't define it. I know what that's New Age beliefs.
And what is New Age beliefs?
Yeah, I don't know.
How is this new?
I'd have to look up a definition of it. But
would you mind?
I don't. I'd have to give me a minute.
Okay.
But I used to be a New Ager.
Okay, so why did you change back to thinking that we are separate? What experience made you feel that you are separate to connecting and being with God in space, in the physical world?
Because the New Age is a lie. It just leaves you empty. There's nothing. There's no hope. There's nothing.
Oh, I don't believe that at all.
It's a big deception.
I don't believe so at all. I believe we all are here to make choices and to learn and to experience. And in doing so, we do go to those dark depths You know, like I almost died when I was 10. I've been struggling with bone diseases and mental disorders and bipolar since I was 12. Like I've had a really tough life, you know. And, you know, from that, I have learnt that we just continue living. And the extent of darkness is the extent of light that you can actually achieve. And we are here for so long. So how can you, you know, assume that in this entire lifetime, we will be separate to pure love and light and God?
Well, because all these like yogis and mystics, they're just a bunch of con artist scammers, right? Where they're like, "Oh, I got the secret mystic knowledge," blah blah blah.
Well, I think like you know what you know and you don't know what you don't know.
Me.
You know, like what people learn and understand from experiences.
She just wanted to preach. I was gonna talk to her, but she just interrupted me. She wants to preach. So, didn't I already have that guy up, or did he get disconnected? Oh man, a vegan, really? Yeah, if you want to spread love, be a Christian. The New Age is not love. It's like goofy, like con artist stuff. Dude, if you're a dude and you want like a girlfriend, become a New Ager. Get into like crystals and horoscopes, dude. Women love that stuff. I don't know why, but they do. Yeah, I kicked her because she was just preaching. And I tried to talk, and then she just interrupted me like I barely got a word out. So she was just here. She wasn't interested in anything I had to say. She just wanted to preach. She thinks she's spreading love, but you know, an act of love is listening to someone. Love is actions, right? And when you love someone, you listen to them. B, you did not listen to me. I listened to you. You know why? Because I love Jesus. You hate love and Jesus and truth, and you interrupted me when I was trying to talk to you. You're a phony. Talking about love, you're a hypocrite.
Oh, hey. It turned down my volume when I joined. I'm an atheist.
Oh no.
The reason I would argue that I would be an atheist is because if there is a God, he is so amoral, I would not want to support him anyways.
Oh my God, what are you talking about? He said to love other people.
Maybe he said that, but he flooded the entire earth and killed everyone but Noah and his family.
You have to say unalived.
Sorry. Yeah.
And rape and whatever.
Yep. I will remember that. Unalived.
Okay, yeah, but what about like when they were gonna stone the adulterous woman, and he was like, "He among you who's without sin cast the first stone."
So,
and like he was like, "I don't condemn you," and he saved that woman.
Jesus, correct? Like I it's been a while since I read the Bible, not since like.
Yeah.
So I'm just making sure. Yeah, I would agree with the morality that is doled out by Jesus. What I would say is that the morality of God the Father through the Old Testament and still into the New Testament would be questionable, and that like if we want to believe that he's real right now, he's allowing natural disasters and bombings to kill many children, and I don't know why.
Unalived.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Yep, unalived.
I'm sorry, but it's just the rules. I know it sucks. It's stupid.
I know. I'm sorry.
But like there could be, I mean, ultimately though, I think God wants the best for us. And from our perspective, sure, like being unalived seems awful, but there could be facts about death. We don't really know much about death, right? From our perspective, there could be facts about death that would make it not seem as bad. Like maybe it's just a doorway to something else or something. And like, I think there could be like reasons out of love that God would flood the planet. Like what if the whole world was full of a bunch of like Yahtzees, right? Like it was just Yahtzees all over on Earth, and like God's like, oh my gosh, these Yahtzees, what am I gonna do? And so he has to like flood the planet. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, sorry, TikTok. That took me a minute to realize what you meant. Yeah, I can understand that, but I would say even if everyone was Yahtzees, I would still say that it's a lot better to re-educate people and fix them than flood and end the lives of people.
That was his plan. He just deemed that was like a necessary like evil, I guess, because there was no other way. And then he did save like Noah and repopulated the planet. And he has a plan. He sent his son for us, and he's got a plan of redemption. And this is just this like world is temporary. The death and suffering are temporary. It's not going to be like that. He's going to fix everything.
So what I would say there is that to me seems like just sort of like a cop-out of, like, we can sort of believe everything is in his plan. Even like, there are some people who believe the Nazis were part of God's plan.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Oh my god, yeah, Yahtzees. Goddamn, sorry. I'm not used to being on TikTok. I'm sorry.
That's alright.
Will I get you banned or just me banned? Because I don't care if I'm banned.
I don't know, man. I might have to drop you. I can bring you back up. I think I can bring you back up, but if I drop you, it will avoid me getting like. They're gonna think I'm a freaking neo-Nazi here. Oh man, now I said it. I'm gonna have to end the stream.